Assalamu alaikum. My name is Shahzad Ali and I'm working as lecturer in the Department of Information Sciences at University of Education Lahore, Multan campus. This is my first lecture in this online lecture series of data mining. The course code for this data mining course is ITEC 4124. And in this lecture we'll discuss association rule mining and we'll try to cover some basic concepts of association rule mining, which is also known as pattern discovery, or in some studies it is known as mining frequent patterns or mining frequent item sets. So before we begin, I would like to let you know the overall structure or division of this data mining course. Actually this course is divided into 5 major topics. The first one obviously is the data mining introductory portion, in which you have already learned about the basic concepts and topics of data mining. You have also learned about different types of data sets available and different types of data pre-processing techniques as well. After that, the second major part of this course is association rule mining, and the third one is supervised learning. This is a very famous and interesting area of this domain of artificial intelligence, machine learning and data mining. After that, the fourth part is unsupervised learning, and finally the fifth part is anomaly detection, which is also known as deviation detection, or in some studies it is known as outlier detection. So from today to onward 4 weeks we will spend on association rule mining. So let's start with this topic of pattern discovery or association rule mining. So you may wonder, what is pattern discovery? So I better first give you an example. Suppose you are a sales manager at an electronics store, and you are talking to a customer who recently bought a PC and a digital camera from your store, and you want to make some recommendations to that customer. So what should you recommend to that customer that he or she buy from your store? So this is possible only if you have information about which products are frequently purchased by your customers following their purchases after PC, laptop and a digital camera in sequence. It would be very helpful in making your recommendations. So consider another example. When we go to a grocery store for shopping, so we often have a extended list of things to buy. Similarly, each shopper has a distinctive list depending on one's needs and preferences. So a housewife may want to buy healthy ingredients for a family dinner, while a bachelor might buy Coke and chips. So understanding these buying patterns can help to increase sales in several ways, such that if there is a pair of items that are frequently bought together, like bread and milk, for example, so when you go to store, would you not want that store to be in an order in such a manner that reduces your efforts to buy things? For example, I would want toothbrush, toothpaste, mouthwash and other dental products in my single visit to the grocery store. So this is done in a way in which we find association between items. So both the items or similar items or products can be placed on the same shelf of the grocery store, so that buyers of one item would be promoted to buy other products or other items from your store. So similarly, you may apply promotional discounts using this frequent pattern association among item sets that could be applied to just one item of the associated two item sets, so that if a customer buy one item, so he may be get motivated to purchase another item due to the promotional discount applied by the store. So this is an interesting area of study. So it may help in many different ways in our daily life. So considering a massive shopping transactional data, so pattern discovery may help answer the following questions, like what group of items are frequently bought together, or if a customer buys diapers at night, what is the probability of this person buying beer as well. Similarly, if a customer buys an iPhone 5 or iPhone 7, so what other electronic products will the customer be most likely to buy in the next 3 months? So you people can see pattern discovery or association rule mining is very interesting area of study. So what is the value of pattern discovery? Pattern discovery helps you find hidden and inherent data patterns in massive data sets. Pattern mining or association rule mining will play a unique and critical role in mining massive data sets. So in this section of the course, you will learn scalable methods to find patterns from massive data sets. The patterns are the set of data items that are strongly correlated to each other, or they have a strong relationship among the set of data items or item sets. So you will also able to learn how to mine a large variety of patterns. So you will also learn how to evaluate the large variety of patterns that you have mined. Similarly, pattern discovery may also help in other data mining tasks, like such as classification, clustering, and other data mining tasks. So pattern discovery or association rule mining has very broad applications. As we already discussed, it may help in predicting to predict shopping transaction data. For example, for a customer who buys products A and B, what is the likelihood of the customer buying product C? It may help in predicting web page click streams. It may also help, if we talk about the software engineering domain, it may help mine software bugs, like where is the most likely the bug is in the program or in the association or in the source code. So this is an interesting for being IT students. So we will cover this topic, or the association or the application of association rule mining in software engineering domain, in our subsequent lectures. So it may also help in identifying objects or substructures, or in images and videos and social media. Similarly, finding quality phrases, entities, and attributes in massive textual data sets, also another application of association rule mining. It may also help in finding DNA and protein sequences in genomes, and finding hidden communities in massive social networks, or like Facebook, Twitter, and other similar type of social networks. So there are several major references or reference readings for this topic or this section of this course. We have a textbook which is written by Jeff Han, and the title of this topic is Data Mining Concepts and Techniques. We will follow the third edition of this book, and which is published in 2011 and published by Morgan Kaufman. The following 3 chapters are mostly related to this topic. Chapter number 1, the introduction. Chapter number 6, which is the mining frequent patterns, associations, and correlations, which contains the basic concepts and methods related to association rule mining, and chapter number 7, which belongs to advanced pattern mining methods. Similarly, some other references like research papers that we will use in our lecture slides, and the reference for those research papers will be listed at the end of each lecture slide. As you know, this topic of association rule mining is one of the major topics of this course of data mining. So I have tried to divide this topic in 4 weeks plan. So in first week we will try to cover the basic concepts of pattern discovery or association rule mining, and we also learn efficient methods and algorithms for mining frequent patterns or pattern mining. And in the second week we will cover pattern evaluations measures or methods, and mining diverse frequent patterns or mining frequent multi-dimensional or multi-level frequent patterns. And in the third week of this topic, our focus will be on social pattern mining, sequential pattern mining, and we also discuss some applications of pattern mining or association rule mining in the spatiotemporal and trajectory patterns mining. In the fourth part, in the fourth week of this course, we will cover pattern mining applications in the domain of textual and text data analysis, in which we will try to mine quality phrases from the textual data sets. And at the end of the fourth week, we will cover some advanced topics on pattern discovery. So the first topic we are going to discuss is what is frequent pattern analysis and what is the motivation behind studying frequent pattern analysis and why it is important. So to know why frequent pattern analysis is important, we need to know what are frequent patterns. A frequent pattern or a pattern is a set of items, subsequences or substructures that occurs frequently together in a data set, or we call these are strongly correlated to each other. Patterns usually represent intrinsic and important properties of the data sets. That's why frequent pattern analysis or pattern discovery is a process trying to mine or trying to uncover patterns from massive data sets. So it has many interesting applications. For example, in transactional databases, we may try to mine what products are frequently purchased together, like for example beer and diapers, milk and bread, similarly Coke and chips, or laptop with a laptop bag. So based on these frequent patterns, you can do some target marketing. Similarly, for customers, you may want to study if a person buying a PC, what are likely other products he or she is going to buy in the future. So for the software engineering domain, you may want, based on the code segment analysis, try to find the copy and paste bugs in the source code or in the program. Similarly, for text analysis or natural language processing, you may want to see what are likely the keywords which forms phrases in this corpus of the words. Similarly, we can automatically classify web documents based on this association rule mining. So we can see pattern discovery could be very important because it can uncover, it can find inherent regularities in the dataset. It forms foundations for many other data mining tasks like associations, correlation and causality analysis. Similarly, for mining, sequential substructure or structural patterns, pattern analysis is in spatiotemporal, multimedia, time series and stream data. Even for classification, if we use discriminative frequent pattern analysis, the classification could be more accurate. And for cluster analysis, frequent pattern based clustering could be an important direction for cluster analysis. So there is no wonder why we are going to study frequent pattern analysis, because it has a broad list of applications in many domains. So in this slide we are going to discuss some basic concepts of frequent patterns, like frequent item sets, what are item sets, or what is the support and what is the confidence. So consider this transactional database which contains 5 transactions and the transactional ID 10, transactional ID 20, 30 and 40 and 50, and each item set contains different items in its list. So the item set is a set of items is referred to as an item set. An item set that contains k items is a k item set. Suppose consider this transactional ID T10 is a transaction and it contains beers, nuts and diaper as its items. So the length of this item set is 3 because it contains 3 items. So for each item set you may have a concept of sport. Sport means in these transactions data, this data set, what is the frequency or the number of occurrences of item set X. Suppose if we want to calculate the sport of item set coffee, so what is the relative sport, absolute sport for the item coffee? So we have to calculate the number of occurrences of this coffee in these transactions. So coffee occurs in the second transaction and in fifth transaction. So the sport count for this coffee is 2. Similarly, if we talk about the sport of diaper, so as you can see, diaper occurs in transaction first, in 20th transaction, in 30th and 50th transaction. So it totally occurs in 4 times in these transactions. So the sport count for diaper is 4. Similarly, you can also use relative sport. That means the fraction of the transactions. Suppose, for example, there are total 5 transactions and 3 or 4 of them contains diapers. So the relative sport for diaper is 4 by 5, which is around 75-80%. So similarly, if we talk about beer, so what is the relative sport for beer? So we have to calculate the number of occurrences of beer. As you can see, it occurs 3 times, but the total number of transactions is 5. So 3 over 5 is the relative sport of beer, which is around 60%. So you may see whether an item set X is frequent or not. If X the sport of X pass a minimum sport threshold value, for example, if we set the minimum sport threshold is 50%, then we can see the frequent one item set in this data sets. You will find that and there are 4. like beer, you can see there are 3 cases. Their absolute support is 3 and the relative support is 3/5, which is 60%. Okay, but for frequent 2 item set, you may check it, there is only one, because beer and diaper, they happen together 3 times out of 5. As you can see, in beer and diaper occur together in transactional ID 10, transactional ID 20 and transactional ID 30, but in transactional ID 50 only diaper occurs. So but we have to calculate the frequent 2 item sets. That means we want to find the occurrences of beer and diaper together. So there are only 3 cases in this transactional database in which beer and diapers occur together. So that's why the absolute support of beer and diaper is 3. However, in the parenthesis we have written the relative support, which is 60%. So as we can see, the relative support is 3, the occurrences of both beer and diaper is 3, and the total number of transactions is 5. So the relative support of beer and diaper together is 60%. And from frequent item sets we can introduce an association rule. So the first step in association rule mining is, first we have to find frequent item sets. Then based on those frequent item sets we can generate association rules. So association rules that implies, for example, X implies Y. This is a way to write an association rule, where on the left hand side of the rule represents the premises of the rule, while on the right side of the rule represents the conclusion of the rule. And in parentheses we write support and confidence for this rule. These are the measures on which the support interestingness is evaluated. So if people buying X, so if we give an example, computer implies antivirus. So if people buying computer, what is the support and confidence people will buy the item set? Antivirus. So in this case, in this example, the support is 2% and the confidence is 60%. So that means a support of 2% for this rule in this example, in this rule, means that 2% of transactions under analysis show that computer and antivirus software are purchased together. However, the 60% of this rule confidence means that 60% of the customers who purchased a computer also bought the software. So before going into the details, let's discuss the definitions of both support and confidence. Support, the probability that a transaction contains X union Y, means both the premises and conclusion, इन दोनों की जो probability होगी या उनका support होगा, जो उनकी probability होगी इस transactional database में occur होने की, वो उसकी क्या कहलाती है? उसकी support कहलाती है. Similarly, confidence is conditional probability. That means if the transaction usually contain X, what is the probability it also contains Y? So for this probability computation, you can use support X union Y divided by support of X. That means takes the whole rule support count, and divide it with the support count of left hand side. So if we give an example, suppose I am here writing beer implies diaper. I'm using short notations for beer and diaper, B for beer and D for diaper. So what is the support and confidence for this rule? As you can see in the definition of support, B implies D means the number of transactions which contains both B and D. As you can see, beer and diaper occurs in first transaction, in second transaction, and in third transactions as well. So the support for this rule is 3, or you can say 3 by 5 relative support, which is around 60%. And similarly, if we calculate the confidence of this rule, which is the support of both, which is 3, and the support of x means the right hand side means support of beer. So beer occurs in only 3 transactions, in transactional ID 10, 20 and 30. So 3 by 3, the confidence for this rule is 100%, is 100%. So association rule mining find all the rules X implies Y with minimum support and confidence. So association rule mining is actually try to find all such rules which pass minimum support and confidence threshold. So now if we set the minimum support to 50%, and based on this support count, we have calculated the frequent 1 item sets and frequent 2 item sets. Frequent 1 item sets, we have 4 items, which includes beer with support count 3, nuts with support count 3, diaper with support count 4, and eggs with support count 3. So as you can see, milk is not in our frequent item sets. Why? Because the support for this milk is 2, which is less than 3 or 50%. So that's why we discard it from the frequent item sets. So similarly, frequent 2 item sets, we have only 1, which is beer and diaper, as we already mined in previous slide. So from here, if we set minimum confidence to 50%, we are going to derive 2 association rules. The first one is beer, and the second is beer implies diaper, and the second one is diaper implies beer. And in parentheses, we have written the support and confidence respectively. Fortunately, the confidence and support for the rule 1 we have already derived here in our example. And if we calculate the diaper implies beer's support and confidence. So if we calculate the support of both beer and diaper, which is 3, and 3 by 5 is 60%. And if we calculate the confidence, which is the support of both, which is we have 3, and the support of x, in this rule x is diaper. So the frequency or support count of diaper is 4. So 3 by 4 is the confidence of this second rule, which is 75%. So the question is, are these all rules? Actually, if you check this, because this is only frequent 2 item set, so these 2 are the only association rules that can be generated from this transaction data. Similarly, you can work on this data set, or I will give you an example assignment as an example as an assignment in upcoming lectures, so you can work on it in order to get familiar with the these concepts, that how we can mine frequent item sets, how we can generate association rules from frequent item sets. So for classwork, here is an example that you think about it and write the support and confidence for this rule A implies C. So what is the support of this rule? What you think? just calculate the sport of both occurrences of both items together. So 1, 2, these two are the only item sets in which both A and C occurs together. So the sport is 2 by 4 because total number of transactions is 4, which is 50%. And what is the confidence? Confidence is the sport of both divided by the sport of X. Here X is A, so A occurs in 3 transactions. So this is sport of this rule, and this is confidence of this rule. Similarly, for C implies A, you can calculate the sport and confidence. I hope you have understand these concepts. So